I think that the Underground Railroad in the U.S., tied to Canada and Mexico, is the greatest example we have in this country of a mass interracial movement that succeeded. And yet almost no one, including abolitionists, refer to it in a real way, like in terms of the nuts and bolts technique of how people made that work. The lanterns on your door, how you got word to other people, the social media connection that occurred without social media, the trust that you had to have in other people who were not like you, the way you had to travel literally around the world in order to be able to make your way from point A to point B. And I'm thinking a lot about what an underground railroad looks like for us right now, in this moment of already repression, but will be even more so. In a moment, we have to figure out how we're going to share resources with people who are going to need it quickly. Self-determination in its real term, of people who have to be able to create creatively, in a way that is independent and yet interdependent. I think we just. So I'm trying to answer your question by saying that I'm thinking about what systems we've had in the past that have served us well. There was an article in the New Yorker magazine by a person who said that that we exaggerated the importance of the Underground Railroad, which to me is nuts. It doesn't even make any sense historically. And there was a great response by another historian about, like, what are you really talking about here? Like, this was a life-giving, life-saving way that people who were living under the most huge levels of repression and surveillance had to be able to move people out of captivity into some other form of captivity, of course, but less horrible than what they were living through before. And I think most people who made it out were happy they were gone from those places that were, open air jails in some ways. So I've been trying to wrap my brain around what it could take to do something like that in our current moment. What are the systems that we have to create? What are the relationships we have to build with each other? How do our communications have to shift and change? So I've been thinking a lot about that. And I think, abolitionists are the people who made that work. So we have a legacy from which we need to learn and, could we create in a different way today? The idea of self-defense also is within that whole realm. If you think of Harriet Tubman's defending people, but also telling people, like, you're not ready, but you got to go. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's time. Like, we got to make this move. And whether or not you feel 100% ready really is not the thing. Like, we are trying to make it to freedom as we see it in this moment. But there's just so many lessons within it. There's so much for us to gain. Community accountability in a real sense. Like, we have actual examples of how that worked, how people worked to keep each other safe under the most dire circumstances. And yet we have zero conversation about it as organizers. Almost no one talks about that. I've not been to a teach-in organized by any organizers about the Underground Railroad. And I'm thinking that's our moment right now, is to revive that and to figure out what the hell they did. Like, what did they do? And how can we do that now, in this moment, internationally? It's possible.